Say it again. Chinese characterized. Say it again. How say?
Characterized.
China characterized socialism. What they do is they give money to the leaders. Okay? Then they buy the leaders and they teach the leaders how to rule their people. How to get money from the people. Then they always got through. Same they did in Malaysia. Okay?
So, can you give us an example of where they've done this already successfully?
Yes.
Or actually, I think there are different measures of success. Success...
I mean, they got the one
They got what they wanted, because success would be that the country they're doing this to would also prosper and be better off.
Okay.
But that's not what's happening.
I always believe everything is a double sword. Double-edged sword. Okay?
I can get one.
No, don't kill me. And everything you do, you have both sides. I'm sure Chinese One Belt, One Road will benefit of many, many countries as well as China. And they both receive a lot of good things. But also bad things happen. Mercedes asked me to give an example. I really don't want to, because it's not very nice to Chinese government.
Well, you know what? There's a difference. You're not being mean if you're just stating facts. Facts are facts, and they're not good or. I mean, they can be a good fact about something good that happened or something bad that happened. But fact is just a fact. It's neutral. It's just something that happened.
Okay, my motherland, my great country, China. Don't blame me. Okay, I'm the grandson of Mao Zedong's teacher. So please, I love you very much. But now this is the fact. China went to Sri Lanka. Okay, they told Sri Lanka, the government says, okay, first of all, this is a herd story. Okay, you have to make sure this is correct.
Okay.
I'm only
check your facts. Check your facts. Like we've said, like he said in the beginning, nobody's an expert here. We're just a couple of people ruminating, and we couldn't contain it, and this was interesting, and we wanted other people's ideas and opinions. So
yes. So what I heard, okay, is China went to Sri Lanka to help the Sri Lanka people to make Sri Lanka a great country. So they promised Sri Lanka, we have like 1 million tourists come to visit you. Okay,
well, that they would get that.
Yeah.
That China would, if they let China do the project, that they could bring in 1 million tourists.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure China can. China can, no problem. So they say you need a good airport. Okay. Also, you need a highway from airport to the city. You also need a port that we have so many ships come.
Actually, you know what I would really like to do during this, if we can, is I would like to now, instead of looking at us, just put up a picture of Sri Lanka and its size, just for reference.
Okay. Anyway, Sri Lanka is a wonderful country. I've been there.
No, I'm just saying so that everybody can have a frame of reference in their head that they needed an airport, they could get 1 million people, and they needed a highway. Now, I would like to put out at least the statistic on how large Sri Lanka is.
Anyway, I don't know what they did with these former Sri Lanka leaders, and they just get excited. Oh, wonderful. And China says, you don't even need to spend money. We will lend you the money. Okay. So, but of course, China did not give the money to Sri Lanka, but they invited their own company, the Chinese company, to do the project. If I'm right, it means Chinese money, government give money to their own company. They build an airport, build a port in Sri Lanka. Okay, then Sri Lanka did not do anything. Only thing they did is they own a big debt, a big number of money from China, and the airport is built, beautiful, and highways there, port is there. The problem is no tourists. very little, very few. And some people say maybe 100 a day or a few thousand a year. We're not talking about millions. And the port, there's no ship goes there. Wow. The Sri Lanka cannot even pay for the interest. The new government came, oh, what do we have done?
So I just want to make sure that I've got this clear. Okay, so China came to Sri Lanka, the government of Sri Lanka, and said, okay, we can, help bring in 1 million tourists a year, but you need an airport, you need a highway, and you need a port.
Yes.
A port. Okay, and then once you have that, hey, we can do this. So they have probably had a plan and all kinds of stuff, and then Sri Lanka said, okay, we don't have money for that kind of thing, and China said, don't worry, we can lend you the money.
Yes.
So okay, so then China lent the money to Sri Lanka, but it didn't go to Sri Lanka, it just went right to
the Chinese
company that was contracted to do all of these.
This is the whole idea. Chinese need their own people to be employed, to work, and they need their own building materials, everything be used.
Okay, so another question I have now is, following up on this project, who uses the port and the airport and the highway?
As far as the airport, because I heard that because there's so many empty spaces, and they have to rent to some farmers to store their crops. What's it? The rice.
Yeah, the crops, the grains and
they use as a storeroom for the farmers. And of course the elephant is using the highway. It's nice, they can walk freely on the highway. About the port, then the new government of Sri Lanka suddenly realized that we cannot pay back. It's not possible for us to, even for the interest, it's not possible.
Wow.
Then the Sri Lanka people says, okay, you build the port, then you can use it. You have it. So they signed a contract with China. The port in Sri Lanka, 99 years, can be used for China. So
is this in addition to them still owing money, or was this an exchange?
I don't know the details. Okay, expert, please give the details.
Yeah.
And anyway, in reality, Sri Lanka lost a piece of, I cannot say land, but a piece of place to China. Same like
I would think that's a pretty critical location as well, since it's a port.
Of course, if war happens.
Yeah, it's pretty critical.
Okay, you have the right to use in 99 years. Same like Hong Kong, be used by the British for 100 years. Okay, what that indicates. Okay, so Sri Lanka had a good lesson. The second is Montenegro. Montenegro is a very, very tiny, small country. And China says we can build a expressway 150 kilometers away, and then you can do this and that. And they say, okay, that's a good idea. We will provide the money and the people, everything. Then build for 45 kilometers. They suddenly realized that Montenegro is such a tiny country, they cannot even pay for the interest. The project has to stop. Okay, wow. So they did exactly the same to Malaysia. One is the high-speed train from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore. Okay, from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore, for ordinary train, it takes 3 hours or 4 hours. Or we can go there by bus for 3 or 4 hours. I did many, many times. Yep. But for express train, 1 hour, great. 1 hour, okay, good. So this is one huge project. The second project is they want to build a oil field or something, make oil, okay? There is another, not government project, kind of domestic, not domestic, but private project.
Private?
Okay, private project, right? That is, they build 4 islands and make 700,000 high-level apartments, condos, and start from $175 a condo, at average price $250,000 a condo, with about 100 square meters, about 1,000 feet, 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms, very high level. And this project, they have even built a wall between Malaysia and their own islands. The Malaysian people cannot get in. Okay, so they have already started this project. They have already sold so many flats before even it is built. Of course, the former Prime Minister Najib, and he benefit tremendously from this project. That's why his wife got so many bags and shoes. And
that wasn't them. You're thinking of Imelda Marcos from like the 80s.
No. Najib's wife also have. You don't know that?
Okay, but I know that she put a lot into injections in her face and hairspray.
Anyway, people said Najib can be put in jail for 125 years if he can live that long. And also, I hope so. I hope not.
Well, what's the point?
Okay, and a big penalty for the money. Okay, if this is going to be true, because this is on trial now. Okay, the trial is going on about him. Okay, he will put in jail definitely. I mean, it's a matter of time for 10 years, 20 years, or 125 years. It's a matter of how long. I think. Okay.
Oh, you might want to tell people why we're so interested in this, or why this came up. Not just because, of course, you're originally from China, but also what? Because
they could trigger Third World War.
Okay, the Third World War.
Yes.
And why do we have an opinion? I mean, honestly, most people, don't even. I'm sorry, but most Americans don't even know where Malaysia is.
Yes. Why we want to talk about this is because Miss Mercedes has been living in Malaysia for 6 years, teaching as a teacher at international school, and she knows very much about. Actually, she lives very, very close to former Prime Minister Najib.
Any prime minister. So now Mahathir Mohamad is there.
She lived in the presidential zone.
Well, you would constantly see the whole, what do they call it?
Okay.
Whatever. You would see the whole entourage going through.
So, as Malaysia-China relationship actually is more critical than U.S. and China at this moment, as my point of view. So, I would like Mercedes to give us some background information about Malaysia, especially the new and old president, Mahathir.
Yes. Well, he's new and old because he was the prime minister many years ago, and actually he is currently and since that time considered the father of Malaysia. No, your head is bigger than mine. Just face it.
Oh, okay. Because
no, don't put me ahead. You make my head look bigger than yours, and it's not.